guys, how's it going? I'm the Crown Clown, and this is just a quick little video. Not going to be too long or anything, maybe just like a minute. But I got a quick question for you guys. Do you want me to go ahead and record the rest of Smoker in one big video, or do you guys want a couple more smaller videos? And I'll let you guys comment that on either this video right here, because this should be the next Smoker part. I'm just, putting this right on in here just to edit it in real quick. But let me know down in the comments below. Do you guys want just a few more smaller videos or one super big video? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, let's get on to the video. I hope you guys enjoy.
Alright guys, how's it going? I am the Crown Clown, and today we are coming at you guys with What If Deku Was Smoker Part 7, I believe we were on. So, just a few quick things before we get started into this video, and that is, the voting is now closed for the 1K special. The 1K special will be up Monday, and it will be up, yeah, it'll be up Monday night, probably. It'll probably be in the nighttime, not the daytime. And after Smoker finishes up, it should be next week, but if it goes on any longer than that for whatever reason, then, that is what it is. But Sabretooth, since it was highly requested, like, Cobra only won with a single vote. So, they were super close together, and yeah, so that lets me know you guys really want Sabretooth. So, I will be putting up Sabretooth after Smoker's done, and with that out of the way, let's get into a little recap. But before we do, if you guys don't want to miss either of those two new series coming up, I would appreciate it if you guys liked this video, if you guys could subscribe to the channel, click that little notification button that's hidden underneath the subscribe button. Crazy, right? And that way, you guys will never miss a single upload I do, and you guys will get notified every time I do upload a video. And click that link down in the description to join the Discord to get more updates about when your favorite series will be dropping and what I plan to do in the future, because all YouTube's going to know from now on is the videos that's coming out. If you're not on the Discord, you won't be in the loop to know when what series is coming out or what series is going to be next. So, with that out of the way, let's jump right into this recap. So, where we last left off, Deku was in the hospital. He was in there due to fatigue, and the gash he got on the face that scarred him, kind of like how Smoker's scar is, that's how Deku's is. And, he's in the hospital right now, like, not waking up. He's been in there for a few days at this point. Everybody's training mentorships, they're done, over with. And Shiketsu's closed down their school to kind of get a grasp on how they can better protect their students when they're away, because it's still their students, it's still their responsibility. Even though they are with pro heroes, it is still Shiketsu's responsibility to take care of their students. And so Endeavor, he's being swarmed with the press. Like, Deku's reputation as the White Chase elevated him to new heights of popularity. He's up there in popularity with people like Mirko, Hawks, Endeavor, All Might, and Yoroi. He's up there with the greatest heroes right now because of his accomplishments as a student and how he's beaten so many of those Nomu, even though he's just a student. But, so he's just like up there. But we're getting to Endeavor's part right now, so let's jump into this. So Endeavor, he's at this press conference, right? And they're going on like, Endeavor, how could you let, someone under your mentorship go out there alone to fight all those Nomus, and Endeavor corrects him. He's like, I did not send him to fight. I sent him to evacuate civilians, something that a lot of sidekicks and interns actually do. It's a mentorship program, yes. So the safest place for them is to be evacuating people. I had multiple people with me that when I was doing the fighting were helping civilians escape as well. That can be fact checked by the videos as evidence. And they're just like, okay, well, how come no one accompanied Izuku Midoriya, aka the White Chase? How come nobody accompanied him, Endeavor? And Endeavor's like, for one, we were stretched so thin, and he is very capable. He's strong, well trained. And one of the mans in the media, he's just like, I object to that. Like, he's just a student. How can he be that strong enough to go out and be warranted for him to be under no supervision while evacuating people? He can't be that strong or well trained. And Endeavor slams his fist down and he says, you underestimate his abilities greatly. This young man is as strong as me every time we have fought. And keep in mind, I held nothing back. It was to a draw. And everyone's just like, he's as strong as the number 2 hero. And it's like, that's crazy. And he says, as for his training, he's been training ever since he got that quirk. For him to even use the quirk the way he does, you guys don't get how it works. It affects him on a subatomic level. He had to have trained with his quirk to keep it from killing him. He has great control over his quirk. And it will only continue to grow, and he will become the next number 1 hero. Mark my words. He is the most well-trained and powerful hero course student in all of Japan. And that is a fact that you cannot dispute. As for that, like, that shuts them all up. And Endeavor says, we're done here. I'm leaving. As the press conference is shut down and the media just like, wait, Endeavor. And he just walks out on them. And he's pretty much headed to Hosu right now, to the hospital, to see Deku. Endeavor's doing the same thing, but he's a bit closer. At the hospital with Deku right now is Makoto, now Masa, you have Fuyumi, and Kami. They're all there, just waiting for him to wake up. It's been days at this point. Now Masa, he's down there just looking depressed. He's thinking like the last conversation he had with his son was them fighting, and that's just eating him up inside. And Makoto, she's really worried about her nephew's health. And Cammy, she's just heartbroken, seeing her boyfriend in there just like a potato. He's basically just lifeless almost. The only thing that you can tell he's actually alive is just his heart monitor. And, Deku's has stitches all up in his face. And they're just wondering, like, if it was just exhaustion in the wound, like, how come he hasn't woken up yet? That's strange. And, Endeavor gets there, and Fumi's just like, hey, Dad. And, Namasa's like, oh, Endeavor, thank you for your words on the news. And Endeavor's just like, think nothing of it, And I apologize to you that my negligence led to your son ending up like this. And I'm also like, no, he's strong-minded. You wouldn't have been able to stop him anyway. And, he gets there a couple minutes later, and he's just like, how is he? And now Masa says he's been out for days. Nothing seems to really stimulate him or anything. It's almost like he's in a coma. And, when they say that, Deku, he starts flinching a little bit, moving, and, he starts saying, no, get back, stop it. And they're just all hearing him, and he's like, Dad, no, stop. I'm sorry. Don't beat me. And they hear that, and now Masa, he's like pissed. He's just like, the hell is he dreaming about? And, Deku finally just wakes up and he's just like, where am I? What happened? As he's looking around, he sees Endeavor, All Might, now Masa, Makoto, Kami, and Fuyumi, and he's just like, oh, what? Where am I? He looks at the IV in him and he's like, I'm in the hospital. What happened? And it was like, you really not remember? And Deku's like, no, I don't remember anything. After saving that girl, everything's a blank. I don't know. And now Masa asked the more pressing question on his mind is, who are you talking to in your sleep? And Deku's like, it was my dad. For some reason, I had these memories coming back when I was a kid, and my dad used to beat me. And, Namasa, like, that's honestly the first time Namasa's actually heard Deku opening up about his actual dad, and he's hearing that his dad beat him. And, Makoto, she's just like, this isn't normal. And the doctor walks in, and he's like, I'm here to give you guys some news. Could I have everyone that's not family please step out into the hallway for a minute? And, All Might walks out, Endeavor walks out, Fuyumi walks out, Kami walks out, and Namasa says, All Might, you're practically his uncle, get in here. So All Might goes right back into the room, and, they shut the door. And, the doctor tells Namasa and Makoto, Deku has extensive damage done to his internal organs. And they're just like, what? What do you mean? He's like, that attack he did where he turned everything around him to smoke, do you know how he did that? And there's like, well, no, not really. And he says, I'll explain then. What he did is took his own subatomic particles, stretched them out, and connected them to the buildings, overriding their structure and turning them into smoke. He did it on a molecular level, turning brick, mortar, concrete, wood, everything imaginable into smoke and used it to incinerate people. He set it on fire on a molecular level, slowly burning away, but the heat that it was burning was hot enough to sear a normal man within seconds. Those Nomu were cooked alive, and they died almost immediately. And he says, but to do that, he had to override, everything else's molecular structure, leaving his own vulnerable. You see, when he actually detaches his subatomic particles, he's dispersing them, and if he's still holding his physical form, he has to keep some particles in there to maintain everything's shape and functionality. Well, what he failed to do is keep enough particles in his organs, and that's caused some extensive damage to his pancreas, his liver, kidneys, intestines, heart, and lungs. He has extensive damage all throughout there that we just can't risk healing right away. We're going to have to keep him in here for observation and to let those organs come back up to full strength naturally. He's going to need a lot of bed rest and will be out of hero work or school activities for about 3 weeks. And Deku's hearing that, and he's just like, 3 weeks? Are you kidding me? What happens if I were to go back right now? The doctor says, simply put, if you tried using your quirk right now, you would damage your internal organs even more and could potentially die as a result. You're very lucky that your molecular structure didn't fail and compromise completely. When you passed out, it wasn't from exhaustion. It was from intense pain and internal organ shutdown. You nearly flatlined out there. You need to be more careful with your quirk. I understand you underwent extreme and rigid training as a child to get your quirk under control. However, your quirk has since then mutated, meaning it's stronger. The rules of your structure have changed. You need to relearn your molecular structure again to keep this from happening. Otherwise, you're just going to keep hurting yourself and you will eventually end up killing yourself. This is very serious and you need to take this seriously. I'm issuing you a specialized trainer and physical therapist. He should be here in a few days. And Deku says, "Who is he?" And All Might's like, "Yes, who is he?" And the doctor says, "His name is David Shield. He'll be here in a few days." And Deku's just like, "David Shield's coming here." And All Might's just like, "Dave, he must have heard about this." And the doctor said, "Yes, this young man's accomplishments are being televised international. Like the incident in Japan was international news. This is not just a Japan problem anymore. As you know, quirks are getting stronger, and this attack is brazenly showcasing that the villains have ways to enhance quirks even further beyond what they're already amping up. That's going to draw attention from every country. The League of Villains will soon, if not already, be considered international threats and be having forces mobilized to take them out." And All Might is just like, "What do you mean?" And he says, "Look, a kid almost died, a promising hero, someone as popular and well known as the White Chase, who's now an international hit sensation amongst heroes, students, and kids alike. His popularity is up there with yours, All Might. He's become a recognizable symbol all throughout the world. He is no longer just some kid that's training to be a hero. He is now having heroic expectations shoved onto him from every aspect of the world. He needs to be more careful. He needs to be more thought out. His life is not his own anymore. Like, all eyes are on you now, kid. Do the right thing. Take the time off. If you don't, you're just going to end up hurting yourself in the long run." And now Masa looks at Deku and he says, "Please, son, do what the doctor asks." And Deku says, "Okay, fine, but when can I have a smoke?" And the doctor's like, I beg your pardon?" And now Masa's like, "What?" And, Makoto's just like, "You serious?" And All Might's like, "I got you a pack right here." And Deku says, "Hand it over." The doctor says, "No, don't you dare hand that over to my patient. You can't smoke in here. It's a hospital." And Deku says, "Fine, I'll just go outside and take a smoke." As, he gets up out of the bed, All Might, lets him lean on his shoulder as he's walking him out. And, Endeavor sees them leaving the room and he's like, "Where are you two going?" And Deku says, "I'm going to have a smoke. I could use a light." So Endeavor follows. Fumi, she's just looking right at Naomasa, and he just throws his hands up. He's just like, I can't even. I can't even." And, Cammy, she's going with Deku, as, Deku's popping in 2 cigars right now into his mouth. And, as soon as he gets out there, he's like, "All right, give me a light." And Endeavor's just like, "Here." Lights up his finger and lights both of Deku's cigars as Deku's taking a smoke. And while he's doing that, Fumi's in there with Namasa, and the doctor says, "Look, your son, I understand he's underneath a lot of stress, He needs to take this seriously. This is his life. And I'm not going to sugarcoat this. If his organs sustain damage like that another 3 to 4 times, it could affect his lifespan, shortening it by half. And Namasa, hearing that, he just sits down. Makoto's crying her eyes out. Fuyumi is there to comfort Namasa, but he's just like, this is insane. Why? Why is this happening? And he says, look, make sure your son understands this. Alright, I have other patients I need to check on, so if you'll excuse me, I hope you guys have a good day. And around 10 p.m., please only have about one person here with him. Like, only one person is allowed to stay the night. I'm sorry, but that's just hospital rules. And he says, okay. So, Deku comes back in with everybody. He sits back down in his bed, and he's just like, alright, so I just gotta stay here till my organs fill up. And now Masa snaps at Deku. He's like, no, you need to take this seriously. You're staying here until the doctor says you can go, and that's final. And Deku's just like, what's gotten into you? He's like, you don't know the danger you're in. If that happens to you another 2, 3 more times, you know your lifespan could be in jeopardy, right? You do know that you could cut your lifespan in half. So say you were to live until you were 70, right? You'd only live to 35. Is that really what you want? And Deku looks at him in the face. He says, if it's between my life and saving someone, I will do whatever it takes to save them. You know that. Why are you acting like this is some new revelation? I knew the risks going into it. I knew I could eventually get hurt or die, or hell, if my lifespan is the price to pay, I'll pay it gladly. And All Might is just like, young Midoriya, if you weren't in that hospital bed right now, I would punch you so hard you'd go straight through the wall. And Deku's just like, All Might, and All Might tells him to shut up. I'm talking now. And Endeavor is just like, All Might? The hell? And he's like, you don't know what it's like to have your lifespan of anything cut down drastically. Because of this injury I've sustained, I can no longer be a hero for more than an hour. It eats me alive at how badly I screwed up with this injury. Sure, I saved a lot of people that day, but how many more am I condemning because I can't get to? Because I can't save them now because I was reckless. Don't be reckless. Don't just say you'll pay any price. There's always a way around it. And Deku says, but what if there isn't? And All Might says, then you make a way around it. You don't get it. You're so lucky to have this quirk that you have. You're able to change not just your molecular structure, but other inanimate object structures to match. Do you know how lucky you are to have that? And Deku says, I never asked for this quirk, okay? I can't help that I won the quirk lottery. I can't help that, okay? But what I can do is make sure I put it to good use, okay? What life do I have to look forward to if I can't save one little girl from a burning building? What life do I have if I can't save somebody who desperately needs it because I'm too scared to get hurt, because I'm too scared to die? Like, I understand that having that fear is good, but I'm not going to let it control me. I'm not. Endeavor says, the kid's right. I know you two have a personal stake in this, But this kid is a hero. That stuff's going to happen, whether you want it to or not. All we can do now is put our faith in David Shields' hands that he can heal this kid and get him back up to 100%. He's a brilliant scientist. He could create something that can help him. Like, you guys need to calm down and think about this. And, they're saying, all right, but majority of us need to get out of here now anyway. And there was like, what? Why? He's like, look at the clock. The clock says 9:45. He says at 10 p.m. only one person can stay here. And Makoto says, I'll stay here. And, Namasa says, all right, sis, I'm leaving him in your hands. So everybody else leaves. And, Deku and Makoto are alone. And Makoto's like, they're just trying to look out for you, right? And Deku says, I know. But they can't try to control my life. They can't try to tell me not to take the risk if it means I can save somebody. That's all I've ever wanted. And, Makoto says, I know. And you don't realize this, but day after day, you're becoming more and more like a vigilante. And Deku's just like, what do you mean? She's like, those vigilantes, I know. They don't do things for the glory or for the money. They don't see any of that. They don't see any of the fame. They just do it because it's right. Because they want to save people. That's all. And, Deku's just like, I understand that I might be becoming more like a vigilante in terms of my ideals, but I'm still going to obey the law. I'm not just going to go out there and take matters in my own hands when I'm not licensed or regulated. And she's like, regulations can hold you back more than any red tape. And what happens if you're too late to get there because you waited for the right procedure? Can you live with yourself? Can you really live with yourself knowing that you couldn't save anyone because you waited too long with the bureaucracy of it all? And Deku's like, I don't know, okay? I don't know. And she said, little spoiler alert, you kind of broke the law today anyway. And he's just like, what do you mean? She's like, you running out there fighting all those Nomus, killing them? And Deku's like, I was excused. She says, excused is the right word. Not allowed. Not permitted. Excused. Something a vigilante could be given. And Deku says, I know where you're going with this. That was a one-time thing. It won't happen again. She says, well, see. Get some rest. You're going to need it for the next couple days. And, Deku says, all right. So the next couple days, Deku's just resting. And Shiketsu's school goes into effect. Iroi, he comes down and tells everybody what they decided to do. That, seeing as how Izuku is in the hospital and will be put in the care of David Shield, and for the course of the school being able to, build up a thing, they decided to hold their training camp at David Shield's countryside facility that was recently imported over and dropped down. And it is highly secure. It will have multiple highly trained security guards and pro heroes there to keep it safe every day. And it's where Izuku Midori will be doing his physical therapy and rehab. And for the whole duration that he's there, the Shiketsu students will be there as a training camp to make sure they're safe and using their quirks safely and, building them up at a safe and steady level, not going too overboard and not, incurring any injuries. And if there's a little chance that they do get injured, they will have state-of-the-art medical facilities to be treated. And they're just like, okay. So next few days go by, and Deku starts his physical therapy and rehab, and the Shiketsu students are there, and Cammy, she's doing her own training, but every time that she's not, like, she's helping Deku. And at the end of the day, Deku, he's sweating really hard because he's building up, having to use his quirk again, trying to build up walking, throwing a punch, kick, push ups, sit ups. He's trying to rebuild his physical strength and his minimal quirk strength for right now. It's pretty hard. Like, his organs almost flatline. Like, if you don't know what it feels like to come back from that, it is extremely difficult and can take an extremely long time, like even years. But David Shield is bypassing that because every day that Deku's not, you know, training, like every night, he's bathing Deku in these regenerative formula that he's mixed up that's soaking in all the vitamins, the nutrients, the electrolytes that his organs need to revitalize themselves. So Deku has this breathing tube and mask hooked onto his face. If you watch Dragon Ball and you know the Saiyan, healing pods, that's basically what Deku's in right now before his organs, just like revitalizing them every night. So every morning, Deku is getting out of his pod, he takes a shower, he eats, and he gets ready. And every day, he feels himself getting stronger and stronger and regaining his former strength. And Inasa is over there training with Seiji. Like, they're doing combat quirk training hardcore with Yoroi. Yoroi, he's fighting them, holding nothing back anymore. He knows his students need critical life and death training, and he's going to be giving it to them in spades. Cammy, she's working on creating her illusions for a longer duration and being able to solidify them into actually turning almost into like clones. But she's also improving her own physical strength and combat capabilities, which is actually paying off for her a lot. Like, the more martial arts training she's doing is just insane. Roy's not personally training her though. No, it's Midnight. Midnight's there, and she's training her heavy. Like, since UA's whole training camp thing is off, and Midnight's like a first year teacher, Shiketsu actually asked UA if they could borrow Midnight, and UA agreed. So that's why Midnight's there training Cammy in hand to hand combat. And it's paying off for her hardcore, seeing Deku push himself to the point of almost collapsing. And David, he's over there with Deku, and he's telling him, okay, look, you're pushing yourself a little too hard here, but I like the commitment. So let's take a little 10-minute break, get you in the pod, we'll get you out and get you back into training. Deku says, alright. As he's, really weak, Mora takes a break from his training to help Deku into the pod. And, Deku puts on his breathing mask and closes his eyes and waits. And while that's going on, like, Mora, he's actually training with something David Shield created. David Shield created this, combat spider drone. And he wants, Mora to be able to, restrain it and break it at the same time. Not just using his hair to restrain people, but actually break their bones while they're restrained. So that way they don't have to worry about them getting right back up or breaking free. And Mora takes that to heart because he saw how hard Deku fought. He knows what Best Jeanist style is. So Mora accepts that. He goes hardcore against that robot. Like, the spider drone, it hits him and he goes flying backwards. But Mora, he doesn't give up. No, he keeps on going and going. And Midnight is going harder on Cammy as a result. And you're always going harder on Inasa and Seiji. And after that day is done, like Deku, he is wiped. Like just basic push-ups, sit-ups, punches, and kicks, like boxing style, is taking everything out of him, and he's just like, I can feel I'm getting better, but it's still taking forever. And David says it's just the second day. Come on, let's get you into the shower. So Deku, he's sitting down in his bath and he's relaxing and he's just thinking back, everything that happened. And he's actually kind of scared to get to his quirk training again because of the stuff that was said to him. He played it off like it didn't scare him or frighten him at all, but the truth is, he's mortified. He's not really wanting to try to risk it because he knows he's going to have to, but at this point in time, it's just terrifying to him. And, Cammy can see him trembling a little bit, and she just walks up behind him, hugs him, gives him a kiss, and says, "Look, I understand you're scared. Trust me, I know." And Dick says, "But I'm not." And she's like, "Don't lie to me. I'm the one person you're not allowed to lie to, remember?" And Deku says, "Yeah, you're right. Truth be told, I'm terrified. I played it off like I wasn't back in the hospital. That's just because I was bedridden and I was pissed off at myself for getting myself into this situation." And he says, "I'm permanently scarred on my face. My organs are going through hell. My body's paying the price. And I'm so weak I couldn't protect you. Hinasa, Seiji, Mora, like my dad, my aunt, none of you. I can't protect any of you right now. And it's terrifying. If something happens, I'm not even going to be able to, fight with you guys. I'm going to be a sideliner. That terrifies me more than anything." And Cammy just tells him, "It's going to be all right. Don't worry about it. It'll be all right." And Deku's just like, "I hope so." And, the whole instant at UA, it still happens. And with Kota, since nobody there would actually really try to talk to Kota too much, even Todoroki, he really wouldn't because he's kind of focused on other things at the moment. Kota ends up dying. And Bakugo, he still ends up being captured. So, yeah, that stuff, it still happens. And, Deku and Cammy, they're in his room, and they turn on the TV. They see the news, and it's, Aizawa giving a speech about Bakugo, and Deku's like, "What happened?" And everyone sees that on their phones, on the TVs, and then it cuts away from that and goes to a battlefield, and they see All Might fighting this weird-looking man whose quirks are just astronomical, and All Might's giving it his all. Like, it's a tough battle. Way more brutal than in canon because All Might, he feels responsible for Deku's quirk, mutating and spiraling out of control for him and nearly getting him killed. All Might feels that it's his fault because he gave him his quirk. He made him his successor. And he feels like that's his fault for it. And so he's going a lot harder, and All For One is going a lot harder. All For One impales All Might in the stomach a bit, and All Might's beating him down. And All Might's like, not shocked at all when, the revelation of Shigaraki being Nana Shimura's grandson. He's like, "I don't care about that." And All For One's just like, "What?" And he's like, "That's just one more thing you have to pay for." And he rushes straight at him, giving him the United States of Smash, but a lot stronger because he wasn't, as distraught and didn't take as much damage, but he's still bleeding. He is bleeding out slowly, but, surely. And he ends up snapping All For One's neck with that punch, but not before All For One impales All Might through his stomach and chest. And, All Might's there and he's pulling out those spikes out on live TV. And he raises his arm up and, everyone's cheering for him. And he looks and says, "You're next." And then falls to the ground in a puddle of his blood. And, Deku sees his dad running over there to All Might. And he sees him pick up All Might's body and start carrying it towards the police cars. Slow walk, all the pro heroes there that are still standing make a line. They stand at attention for All Might, who's fallen. Endeavor gritting his teeth, and everybody else just somber. And the news cuts away and says, "Number one hero, All Might, killed in action." And Deku's just like, I, I couldn't help them. And, Bakugo sees that and he's just like, why? Why? And Todoroki's in shock as well. He's just like, I wasn't strong enough to help. I could have helped, but I wasn't strong enough. And Bakugo feels heavily responsible for this. He thinks that it's because of him All Might was killed. And Deku, back at the facility, he screams at the top of his lungs. He screams so loud that the freaking windows crack, the glass shatters, and tears are running down his face, and he passes out from just screaming and crying so much, because that was like his uncle. That was literally like a mentor and uncle relationship he had with All Might. It was one of the best family type bonds he's ever had with a person. And David, he's crying his heart out, and Yoroi runs in to see Deku just passed out, tears streaming down his face, Cammy holding him, and, Yoroi's just like, the effects are felt everywhere. Don't let this distraught you, young Midoriya. Rise from this great travesty that's befallen you, and become even stronger. Please don't let this discourage you, but let it light a fire within you. Become the next number one hero. Become a true hero of peace and justice. We need that now more than ever." And that's actually where I'm going to leave it off for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, I'd appreciate it if you guys leave a like, comment down below how you guys like this, how you feel the story's going, like any feedback you guys have, greatly appreciated. And as always, I am the Crown Clown, and I hope you beautiful people have an amazing rest of your day, and look forward to tomorrow with another episode of Smoker coming out, and I will catch all of you beautiful people tomorrow. Have a fantastic day, Clown Pirates.